Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, you are now tuned into the Investor Show. As always, this is your gracious host, the Prince of Investing, Prince Dykes, coming to you guys and girls live all the way from the beautiful city and state of Las Vegas, Nevada. That's right, I'm here live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I know it looks a little different behind where I'm usually at, but I'm here in Brandon Marshall from the Broncos. Well, most people probably know him from football. I know he does commentating on sports, things like that. And we're here live today to talk about his program, his childhood, his upbringing, and so much more. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest, Mr. Brandon Marshall. How's it going today, sir?
Yeah, how about yourself, man?
Doing pretty good. So Brandon, your childhood, tell us about, I know you just talked about the love of the game, but how was your upbringing? Your mom, your dad? I met your mom and you for the first time a couple years ago at the Williams Marshall. Y'all had
we had a gala.
A gala that was there. Yeah, I went there. That was my first time meeting. Forgot how many years did that ago?
That was 2017.
2000
or 18. 17 to 18, yeah.
It could have been 18.
Probably
I think it was, you know, Rod Smith, the Bronco. He was the one that he posted about it. And I said, okay, well, I'll go check it out, whatever. Yeah. So that's how I ended up going and, you know, meeting you and everything like that. So your upbringing, you know, I know you mentioned your mom, your brothers. How was your upbringing here in Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. You know, I mean, my mom showed me a lot of love. You know, I have a big family out here, a lot of cousins, a lot of uncles and aunties. So, you know, my mom was really the rock for me, my family. My dad lived in California. He was in my life briefly in the beginning. And, you know, they had a crazy situation between them two. And so, you know, after that, it was just me, my mom, and my brother. So, you know, there was a lot going on, but, you know, I stayed true to you know, where I knew I wanted to go and who I knew I was going to be.
Now, what type of kid were you when you were in middle school?
Yeah, man. I probably was just like the class clown, like to have fun. You know, I mean, it was more of a, you know, I took school not serious. I didn't take it as serious, to be honest with you. But not until I knew, okay, if I don't get my grades in high school, I won't go to college. So that's when I started taking it serious. But before that, it was more just fun. I like to, you know, get up and you know, go sharpen my pencil even when I didn't need it sharpened, just so I could talk to my friends and stuff like that.
You want to show off your outfit?
Yeah,
too?
You know, all
show
of that.
Show off your shoes, go up there, turn it real slow.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I was gonna do that. I never had the clothes to do it, but you know, it was all right. I saw everybody else though.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, transition to high school. What type of kid were you in high school?
Man, I would say in high school. So I came into high school, I had glasses and braces, right? So I was more so, I just wasn't confident, you know, in myself. It was a time where I was just trying to figure out who I was. You know, everybody liked me, but I still wasn't confident in me initially. And then I got my glasses off, right? And then some of the girls that wouldn't talk to me before, they was like, oh, you look different. Like, okay.
Like back then, you didn't want me. Now, see, there you go. Yeah. Okay. So now that how would people say you were? You know, if I went in Vegas and found somebody you went to high school with and they said, you know, what type of kid were you? Were you like the jock? You was the nerd? You was the funny guy? Just the athlete? Where were you?
I was just an athlete. Like I was a jock, but I wasn't conceited. I wasn't, you know, I was football. I played, you know, I ran track. You know, I did all the sports and everything like that. You know, I was in the homecoming court, you know, my senior year, but you know, I wasn't arrogant or none of that. I was just a cool guy. People just probably say, yo, he was just cool, you know? So that was just me.
Now, did you, at that time when you was in high school, was that the time you decided, hey, I want to make football a career, or was it just college was the next step? Hey, I just want to go play football in college.
Nah, I always knew football, I wanted that to be my career.
Oh, nice.
You know, I always knew from when I was as young as I could remember, you know? So, I mean, obviously I know I had to take it one step at a time, but I always knew the league was the end goal, and that's what I worked towards.
Now, when it was time to go to college, did a bunch of colleges reach out? Yeah. What made you choose the college that you chose?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so a lot of colleges sent me letters. You know, I got letters from a lot of colleges, Oregon State, Arizona, you know, Nevada, Colorado State. You know, so initially I committed to Colorado State, and so I was going to be in Colorado anyway. So that's at the time they had Sonny Lubick, you know. So when I went on my visit, me and my mom, that was the only coach I really liked though. So I had a bad feeling about going to Colorado State. You know, it was just like a weird gut feeling. You know how it's that vibe, and I was like but I committed anyway because it was a full scholarship. Why not, right? So then I left And then out on my way back to Vegas at the airport, I get a call from the coach at University of Nevada, Reno. And they say, yo, we want you to come in and take a visit. So I was like, cool. And once I got there, I kind of got a different feeling. I felt at home. And that's what made me choose, Nevada. So I actually had 2 offers. I was gonna have a 3rd offer from Bowling Green, but my mom didn't want to go to Ohio. She was like, why you want to go so far? But I wanted to go because, at the time, Bowling Green was
Nevada, was that a full ride as well?
Full ride.
So were you pretty academic as well? Would you had good grades on the SAT, good GPA?
Yeah, well, I graduated 3.0, so I mean, it wasn't outstanding, it wasn't stellar, but it was
good enough.
It was good enough.
Way better than I was, but hey, you made it happen.
All right.
So you decided to commit to University of Nevada, right? Now you get there, do your personality change? When did the confidence shift change?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. Probably around that time,
And what caused that? Because you were starting already.
Well, I was a 4-year starter in college, but maybe I just grew into myself. Maybe I grew into myself. I was a kid. And I don't know how deep we want to go into this.
Let's go.
Okay, cool. So I lost my virginity at 17, right? And so I was still a little kind of like, because I feel like little boys, I feel like young men, the whole sex thing kind of is part of their confidence, or whether they're not confident as well. It could be, right? So I feel like once that happened, it did it for me, but it really didn't, So then as I got to college and I started to just, be on my own and kind of just grow into me, because I was really introverted. I was kind of introverted. And then, I just met my friends and I just grew. I felt like me going away and being on my own, I just kind of grew into myself, and I think it helped.
Okay. So now you get to college.
Yeah.
Are your eyes still on the pros at this time?
Yeah.
So you let it be known from the beginning, I want to go pro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So now your confidence is building. You meet anybody interested in college? Any memorable moments in college?
I mean, I had a lot of memorable moments in college.
Okay.
It was a lot. College is, I always say that college is like no other experience. You'll never find an experience like that on this earth. And it was a time where, I joined a fraternity. I was really heavy.
Fraternity.
Kappa Alpha Psi.
Okay, Kappa, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I joined.
That's the red and white, right?
Yeah, crimson and cream, but
Okay,
it's all
my
good.
bad. Okay, all right. Y'all do the wipe me down.
Yeah, we do all that.
There you go.
Okay.
See that was you. Okay.
Yeah.
What y'all call that? Not the stepping, but you strolling.
Strolling.
See,
Yeah,
okay. See, all right.
Yeah.
So you get there. But a lot of fraternities bring out people's confidence.
Yeah, but see, I didn't play until I was a junior.
Okay.
And I feel like I already had my confidence, but they had been recruiting me because my uncle, my cousins was already Kappas, and they was recruiting me. But I was like, I wasn't sure because
I thought you'd probably be Omega.
I mean, it would have been fun. I like the hypeness of Omega.
I know. Most football linebackers.
Yeah, no, that's true though.
You'd have been right there. So I'm kind of surprised that
Yeah, but it was like a family thing, so I was almost grandfathered in because
you didn't get a chance to choose.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, if you're gonna do this, this is what you're gonna go.
So it was almost like I already knew this was the path I was gonna take.
Okay. Now, you pledge. What is the turning point? When do you start to get scouted for the NFL?
Probably after my junior year, and that's when I started noticing, agents was hitting me up on Facebook.
Well, they just DM you like,
They
hey.
just DM me. They were like, yo, I'm so and so.
How do you know they're real? How do you know who's real?
You just take a call. You take a call. They'll say, yo, I'm so and so from this agency. I want to talk to you. And I'm like, I'll write them back, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, now the process has started, and the agents are reaching out, and I got a chance to go pro.
So now you get hit up by these NFL agents who just DMing you. You're calling them back, and you're like, "Oh man, the process is actually starting." Now let's go on to the draft. You get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? I think it's 2012.
Yep, 2012.
So you get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Was it 5th round?
5th round.
So I'm do a little research on it.
A little bit,
just a little tiny bit. So you get drafted, but what was that feeling like to say, "Hey, I'm finally with Jacksonville"? When they finally drafted you? Did you want to go to Jacksonville? Let's be honest.
I wanted to go anywhere.
Okay.
I didn't really care, to be honest with you. It was just, I wanted to play football so bad for so long, and I sacrificed so many things for so long. I just wanted to be in. And so once I got that call from the 904 number, I remember my granddad was next to me, and my mom was there, my cousin family was there, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. To have them, my friends with me, my family with me, and to witness, me become, I guess, one of the 1% of people that play high school football that are blessed enough to make it. It was an experience like no other.
It's pretty cool because I think I was in the 7th grade when I realized that football wasn't going to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I had to make this hit, and this coach kept making me. It was Coach Wiggins. I remember you, Coach Wiggins. He kept making me run into this guy over and over.
Yeah.
So when I finally hit him properly,
right.
He was like, my head was spinning. I was seeing stars.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "That's how you're supposed to do it. That's what I need you to do every play." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I need another profession. I'm not coming back here again." And that was it.
Sure.
I just never came back to practice.
Right.
But congratulations on finally making it to that top 1%.
Yeah.
Now you're in the league. Now you get drafted by Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
How does things go in Jacksonville?
Man, it didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
And much as life is, right? And so I got there and I'm thinking that, well, they drafted me. I'm the only linebacker they drafted, so I'm going to play. And that was not the case. That was not the case. Obviously, you got to earn your stripes. You got to pay your dues.
So even after you're drafted, you still had to go try out?
Oh, well, try out to see if you're going to play. So 53 people on the team, 46 suit up for game day, right? That's how it was in 2012.
So 56, 53, 46. So the other, what's that, 8?
Yeah.
They're practice 7, I think. 7. They practice squad or what?
Nah, they just are inactive. And then you got 10 people on the practice squad. So
even if I do make the 53-man roster, I still can't. I might
you still might not dress out. Or if you get cut.
But you get paid, right?
Yeah, you get paid.
Okay, all right.
You still gonna get paid.
Okay, all right.
But if you get to the practice squad, you're gonna get paid less. Which ultimately ended up happening to me. And so I initially played maybe the first 4 games, 3 games. And then, the GM called me in one day. And he was like, "Yo, we're gonna cut you. Our quarterback got hurt. We got to bring another quarterback in, but we're gonna bring you back on Monday." So I was like, "All right." So it was kind of a shock, but I was like, because I've never been cut from a team before. So I'm like, All right, cool.
So throughout your career in middle school, you was always good. Always the guy that all of a sudden for the first time.
Yeah.
The GM, what's his name? What was his name?
Gene Smith.
Gene Smith called you in office at Jacksonville after game 4 and say, "Hey, you going."
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they brought me back on Monday. So then Wednesday came, right? So then I get I'm eating breakfast with some of the DBs, and we laughing and talking. And then I get a tap on my shoulder, and I look up, and it's the Reaper. We call him the Reaper. He said, "Hey, yo."
I learned about the Reaper on
Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's where I heard about the Reaper. So the Reaper tapped you on the shoulder.
Tapped me on the shoulder, and then he's like,
everybody look at you like, "Oh no."
Nah, this is what happened though. So I look up at him. He's like, "Yo, B, I've been calling you all morning." So I look at everybody else at the breakfast. Everybody else handing their head down just eating, cause they know. Oh man! So I go up and it was like, "Yeah, B, you know what? We're gonna let you go. Our running back got hurt. We got to sign another running back, but we'll bring you back on Monday." And then at this point, he saw I had an angry look on my face. So then he starts asking me about my mom. He's like, "So how's your mom doing, man? How's your, I'm like, "Man, you just fired me. You just fired me. You gonna ask me how my mom doing? Come on now."
Speak on the financial side.
Yeah.
If you're playing and you get cut, what happens to your funds, your money? Because you got a lifestyle. What happens? It just stops, or
it just stops. So whatever is guaranteed on your contract, they still owe you that.
Okay.
But if let's say they already paid you your guarantee, so as a rookie, my only guarantee was my signing bonus. So I got that early in the offseason after I got drafted or after I signed my contract. During the season, after that, the funds just stopped. So it's really just over unless you get picked back up.
Wow. Okay. So he asked you, "Okay, how does your mom doing?"
Yeah.
Let's get back to he saw your angle. "Hey, how's your mom doing?" So how do you respond to this?
I'm like, I'm taken back, and he was like, "So how your mom doing?" I was like, "Yeah, she doing all right." He's like, "Yeah, where she living now?" Like, she living in Virginia, and I tell him where. This fool pulls out like an atlas. And then he started to show me, he's like, yeah, this is where your mom lives at. And I used to recruit this area. And I'm like, look, he's trying to make small. He's trying to make me feel better about getting fired. Like, bro, it's all, just go ahead and let me walk out because you just.
I'm trying to see, where was he going with? Like,
I don't know where he was going with it. I think he felt bad. He genuinely felt bad. He had to have felt bad because he knew how I felt, or he probably could empathize with how I felt. And then so he tried to make it better, talk about my family and yada, yada, yada. Come on, bro.
So did you get angrier when he started doing that? That's a problem?
I was still trying to play the game because I'm like, well, he did say he gonna bring me back, so let me not go off on him.
Yeah, okay.
You know, because I gotta control my emotions because I don't want to go off on him.
Did you always kind of like, or not always, but you always kind of like had anger issues?
Nah.
Never, okay.
Nah, I've always been kind of level-headed. You know what I'm saying? I've always been level-headed. I've always been able to control it. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So now, so he goes and he pulled out this atlas and he's saying, hey, you know, I used to recruit in this area. You know, I used to have I brought my first dog over there, right?
Yeah.
So did you stop the conversation or did you just kind of roll with it?
Nah, I just roll with it because I knew I had to play the game.
Okay.
And because it's a relationship business, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously it's a results-based business, but it's still a relationship business. And I didn't want to say nothing out of pocket or do nothing crazy because then he'd be like, oh yeah, well we don't want to be no more because it's easy for them guys to do that.
Oh wow.
You know, and I didn't want to be a victim of that.
Okay, so y'all had this kumbaya conversation. What happens after that?
He let me go. He cut me, and so I get in my car, and this is in the morning time. So, man, I get in my car and I'm like, I'm gonna drive home. Then I say, you know what? I'm just gonna start driving south. I'm in Jacksonville. I hit the 95, and I'm driving like I'm going to Miami. I'm like, man, I'm out of here. And so I'm driving, and then I'll probably get to St. Augustine, which is maybe like an hour or two outside of Jacksonville. And then something hit me, and I was like, you know what? Let me go back. So I turned around, and I was like, look, okay, if I'm gonna go out, let me go out on my terms. You know, he said he gonna give me another shot on Monday. Let me get my mind right. I think that drive just kind of cleared my head. I'm like, okay, let me get my mind right. Even though at this point we talk about confidence, right? My confidence with football was shot because I kept having somebody tell me that you wasn't good enough, you weren't good enough, we don't like you. Then the coaches, to be honest, and how the coaches was treating me, I knew the team didn't like me because the coaches, you know.
You was out there missing tackles?
Nah, man, but it was. You know what's crazy? When I fired my old agent, I got a new agent. They found out, they thought I had an attitude. And I'm like, that's crazy because nobody in my life, you can go back my whole life, there's no teacher, there's no coach, there's no anybody that probably would have said.
You didn't have that stamp of approval.
That stamp, huh?
You see,
yeah, I know you're talking about.
See, there you go. So you was kind of chasing this validation, right? You're like, why can't I get this validation? And I experienced that a lot in my life, right? I mean, I think that every man kind of goes through it because you're trying to get to certain places and positions, and you need people.
Yeah,
people,
you need them.
People have to like you. People have to relate to you. You know, in all aspects of everything you do. So I can relate to that as far as like you kind of like, well, why? You know, almost like that Will Smith thing, like why you don't want me? You know, why you don't want me or whatever, right? So now you're in your car, you're driving south. You find your agent. You're trying to see what's wrong. You're trying to be the model player. What happens next?
Yeah, so I turned around and I just came and. So what would like an issue was I was trying to model my game off of one of the vets that they liked. And that's all good because obviously you see somebody who does it well or
who's that vet?
There was a couple guys, Russell Allen, Daryl Smith, you know, those guys, they liked them. So I was like, okay, well maybe for them to like me, I gotta play like them. But the problem was I'm not them. So it didn't fit. Paul Posluszny is one of them. And so I came to the realization, I was like, okay, well, I could still be coachable, still take what they tell me, but put my spin on it because they obviously drafted me for a reason. They liked how I played for a reason. So instead of me trying to switch up my whole game, which is not me, I could play my game, but I'm just gonna take the coaching points and add them to my game. And once I did that, I think it was nice.
Okay. So now did Jacksonville call you back or did you get the call from Denver?
Okay, so I got it from actually both. So I got the call, so Jacksonville said, yo, we want you back, but we don't have an active roster spot for you. We'll put you in the practice squad. And then, so I was like, okay, cool. So I signed. maybe a day later, I'm talking to my agent. He said, yeah, actually, man, Denver called you too. He said, they want to bring you in for a workout. I said, why didn't you tell me? He said, well, I thought we was going to go back to Jacksonville. I was like, no. Your job is to inform me of all my options and let me make a decision. So once I found that out, I was hot. And then I ended up letting them go.
So now you're on agent number 3.
No, this agent number 2 now.
This is number 2? Okay,
Number 2,
all right,
number
okay.
2.
So you're like, oh, you didn't even tell me about Denver?
Yeah.
You got to go, man.
You got to go.
All right, so you cut the agent. Now, how do you still keep that relationship with Denver? Because since it came through the agent, how did that happen?
It didn't. I didn't keep a relationship with them. I guess they just had kept their eyes on me, the whole time. And the relationship didn't come through the agent necessarily, because sometimes it does. Sometimes an agent might know a coach or a scout or GM, but this time I think they were just genuinely interested in me. And so, I got, fast forward to the next offseason, I get cut again, and that's when Denver calls again. I was like, okay.
You're probably used to getting cut by now. You're like,
yeah, I was like, all right, man.
All right, go ahead. You see the repeat, like, what's up, man? All right,
Yeah,
let's do this.
let's
Here we go again.
Yeah.
All right. So now you go back to, you get cut again. Now you say, hey, let me take this Denver offer. Okay. So
Yeah,
now
but I had a couple more offers. So Jacksonville wanted me back again, which is wild. They say, yo, all right, we're gonna let you go, but we want to develop you on practice squad. And I'm like, yo, I already did that. I just did that. So then Denver, so I told them yes though. I was playing the game again, politicking.
Oh,
right?
sure, yeah.
So I'm sitting in this meeting with the new GM and the new head coach, and so they asked me like, yo, do you want to come back? And I said, yeah, I'll come back, because I needed a job, right? Then maybe like a couple hours later, well, first of all, my ex-fiance picks me up, and I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling sorry for myself, and we go eat. Then Denver calls me, or calls my agent, and my agent calls me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, so now I got options. And as soon as Denver called, I knew I was not going back to Jacksonville. Then Oakland calls me, and they all 3 teams wanted me on practice squad, and
so everybody wanted you on the practice squad. Jacksonville, Denver, and Oakland. Okay. Now, what made you choose Denver?
Well, I called one of my boys that played for Denver,
Who you
Terrence Knighton.
Terrence
Pot
Knighton,
roast.
okay.
Pot roast, because he just came from Jacksonville. So
And
he went to Denver. So I called to see
how the transition
was. He was like, yo, B, he said, you'll love it over here. They had Peyton Manning. He said, we're winning. He said, look, B, just come in here, work hard. I'm pretty sure you'll get a shot. And because he told me that he was just in Jacksonville, so he just was in the situation I was in and went to a better situation, I was like,
y'all was down there losing in Jacksonville.
Losing, L's.
So you just like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
We winning up here.
Yeah.
It might be a little cold,
Yeah.
but
Right.
So, okay, so now you're saying, okay, so Pot Roast called you, and he kind of gets you into talking into going into Denver.
Yeah.
So now you get to Denver and you're on the practice squad,
Yep.
right? So how did you work your way to the active roster? Somebody got injured?
Somebody did get injured, but that was down the line. That was in week 16. So, initially I was just working hard on practice squad. And back then, John Fox gave out practice squad players of the week. And I probably got practice squad player of the week probably out of 16 times, probably at least 10. Like I was literally killing. And I got we talk about relationships, right? We talk about, connections, and when somebody vouches for you, it could really help you. Peyton Manning vouched for me, and which was a blessing.
Because he saw you on the practice squad.
Yeah, because I was going against him every day.
Okay.
So he talks to the offensive coordinators like, yo, who is this kid? We can't block him. And then the offensive coordinator comes talk to me. Then they're talking to the head coach. Then they're talking to the defensive coaches, and they're trying to figure out, okay, who is this kid? He's doing this thing, and because I think you can kind of become invisible somewhat on practice squad. But I was standing out, and week 16, Von Miller ends up getting hurt, and they brought me up.
Nice. Okay. So how was it getting to Denver? You already spoke about Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peyton Manning.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, much love, brother.
Yeah,
for real.
appreciate that. Gave Brandon a job, got him looked at, and things like that. So now, how was it with Von at that time? Him being, he hadn't hit stardom yet.
Yeah.
Right, but he was.
Well, I feel like he was still a star because really he came in the league as a star almost, because he got 18 sacks his second year, and I think I got there probably his third year, which was my second year. Yep.
Okay. So now you're up on the active roster, right? You finally made it. Peyton Manning gave you that vouch.
Yep.
Now you're like, hey, you know what? I'm on a winning team. This is better. It's a little cold outside, but hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
So walk us through what's going on now. What's happening now?
That stamp of approval you was talking about, right?
Oh, you finally got that stamp of
I
approval.
got that stamp, man. And so I get up and I'm just on special teams. And so the special teams coach tells me, he said, look, this is the audition to see if you're gonna play in the playoffs. So I was like, okay, cool, because it's week 17, last game of the regular season. I was like, okay, well, let me be on my stuff because I want to play in the playoffs. We was #1 seed in the AFC, so, you know, this was my time to really show I could play, not just in practice, but in the game. So, you know, apparently they liked me enough. I did my thing when I played against the Raiders. And then the next game we played was, I forgot who we played, but we played in the division championship, in the divisional round in the playoffs. You know, it's funny because all I could remember was us playing the Patriots, but that was the AFC championship. But anyway, I suited up, right? I suited up, and you know, I was on kickoff, punt return, all those things, and I almost blocked the punt against the Patriots. And you know, I played well, man. But it all really stemmed from my preparation. You know, from my preparation throughout the whole season of working hard, practicing hard, working on my technique, staying late, not just working on defense but special teams. So, you know, everything was truly going my way. We go to the Super Bowl. We lost. We lost against the Seahawks, but I ended up getting special teams player of the game for our team, and it was just all really just from, you know, all my work leading up to that.
Okay, so now you get there and you start to you're starting to shine, right? Mm-hmm. Is this a Super Bowl year you're talking about, or is it the year before?
Super Bowl year. So we played
the one y'all lost.
When we lost, yeah.
Okay, so now walk us through losing that, because you know that was the most powerful offense.
Yeah.
Defense was a little suspect.
Yeah.
This was the Legion of Boom year.
Right.
It was hitting that game. I was like,
yeah,
whoop.
They was hitting.
They flying. I said, yeah, I'm like, you know, they really hitting this game, right? So now, what happened is, because Vaughn was out for the Super Bowl, right?
He was out. Yeah.
So Vaughn is out. He's up in the stands eating popcorn. Mm-hmm. You down on the field.
Yeah.
You playing the Super Bowl. The first snap of the game, ball goes over Peyton Manning's head. Mm-hmm. He's running like a robot. He's trying to go get the ball right, fall on it. What's going through your? What was that game played at? What was the first Super Bowl? New York. Okay, New York. Seeing that first snap, what went through your head?
I'm not gonna lie. There was not one time up until at least the whole first half that I thought we was gonna lose the game. Even, you know, the ball go over his head.
The first half, you're like, yeah,
safety. Even coming out of the locker room, because so we was down 22-0, but we had the most powerful offense in history. Like you said, we had Peyton, we had Demir, we had everybody. And so it wasn't until they returned the kick on us in the second half, made it 29-0, I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's over.
Now what was going wrong defensively? Like, what was Russell Wilson doing? And, you know, their offense wasn't really known as great. What were they doing?
It was the defense. So we had about 5 defensive starters out. And I think, you know, our offense couldn't do anything. So it was 3 and out, you know, whatever, right? Our offense wasn't moving the ball, so the defense had to go back on the field again and again and again. And that wears the defense out. They was tired. And so I'm like, yo, the offense they have to sustain a drive so the defense could have a break.
Does it really drive you? So I know I always hear commentators say that. Yeah. Does it really wear you down?
Yeah, absolutely wear you down. This is the pros, man. You got grown men leaning on you, you know. Grown men leaning on you all the whole game, and then you got somebody upstairs game planning. It's like, okay, well they've done this, and the more opportunities they have, they're gonna figure you out at some point. Mm-hmm. So they ended up, it was too easy for them.
Okay, so now how do they feel to lose the Super Bowl? Or were you just happy to be like, man, you know what? I was there.
Hey, I'm gonna be so honest with you.
Go ahead.
Like, I was a mix of two. I was in a mix of both because of the situation I came from. Jacksonville, losing, was 2-14, getting cut, not getting appreciated, to Denver, where they appreciated me, they loved me. We go to the Super Bowl, we lose. I'm like, well,
at least I got a chance to play.
At least, hey yo, you know, they love me. It's all good. It's all good, but it's like it didn't hit me as hard. I think as it hit other players because
they already been approved.
They've been approved, and me, I'm like, yo, I'm just getting started. Like this is just, you know, this is the beginning for me.
Okay, now we roll into y'all repeat. Y'all come back again.
Yeah.
The second time, now y'all going against Killer Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Cam got the
Killer
most
Cam.
powerful offense.
Yeah.
You know, I just saw that he was in talks with the Patriots, not the Panthers.
Yeah, they
Going
just
back
signed
to-
him back.
But they signed him back. Okay, cool. So you got the Panthers who are on top of the world. They got the most powerful offense, right?
Yeah.
But your defense is clicking. You go. How did that season feel going up to the Super Bowl?
Man, we had a lot of close games that year. You know, that was my second year starting, and we had a lot of close games. You know, we was playing teams, beating them by 7, beating them by 3, beating them by 5, whatever it was scrappy. And so we were battle tested. So we knew leading up to that game, I remember Keith Talib, he pulled the defense aside one day and he was like, yo, I want y'all to look at the Panthers schedule and see who they played. See what defense that they played that was actually elite. So I look at my iPad, I'm like, okay, they played the Falcons, they played the Saints, da-da-da-da-da. Yo, the Cardinals, like, I don't see not one really good defense on here. So he was like, they've never played anyone like us. And so that almost gave us an extra boost of confidence, like, yo, we got this.
Talib said that.
Talib said it.
The one who's at the snatching chain.
Absolutely.
He's
Debo.
Debo out there
Debo.
snatching people chain.
Yeah.
He really so he's really a student of the game.
Yeah, he is. He is. And that's one thing that people don't really realize about Talib. They talk about the snatch of chains and off the field incidents or you know how great he was on the field, but he's really a student of the game. He's actually probably one of the smartest
Dudes in the game.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna him and Chris Harris. Intelligent.
Okay. So y'all go in there, you're like, you know what, we got a chance. You know, Superman Cam coming to town, right? So how was it going up against Cam Newton in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't as hard as I thought. I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't as bad. The AFC Championship game was harder than that, going up against Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, but so Cam, you know, he comes in and
That did make it look easy.
yeah, but see that the offense was predictable. It was kind of easy how they were playing it, and so you know what we did.
What did they predictable that you knew like?
So we just knew in certain formations it was all block up, 2-man routes. Okay, it's gonna be easy, right? Or you know we just.
You just said some football stuff that I don't know. If you're
Okay,
talking about.
cool.
All right,
So you know,
block
it's certain formations, right?
Okay.
You know, if you have a tight end and a fullback end, or a tight end and running back opposite of each other, and we just knew the tell all signs. Okay, this is where everybody's gonna block, and only 2 people are gonna run routes. Usually, there's 5 eligible receivers, right? So you can have other guys out on routes, and they just want to give Cam some time. So what we did, instead of running our traditional zone coverage, we ran the zone, but we blitzed them whenever we saw that look. So we blitzed them, and then Von would just had a field day.
Cam never was the same after
He
Von Miller. He wasn't.
he wasn't though, to be honest with you. That's crazy, huh?
he wasn't.
He wasn't.
See, I was joking with some of my Panthers friends.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you know, ever since Von got a hold of him, man, he's never been the same.
And even when we played him the next year, the first game, we was hitting him. We was getting fined. I got fined that game, and then he just ain't been the same, man.
So you saying that Denver took the heart out of him?
Yeah, we put it on him.
I'm gonna send it to my Panthers friends
Go ahead,
because
send
I
it,
told him, I
man.
said, man, I'm saying ever since Von got a hold of him, he ain't really been the
He
same.
ain't. Go ahead. They can look at the film. They can look at the numbers. It's not been the same ever
What
since.
did y'all do to him? Y'all took his
I don't know. I
confidence?
think so, man. I think because he probably thought he was riding high. He was that, right? He was Superman, and we made him look mortal, right? Then he realized, like, yo, maybe I ain't who I thought I am. So he probably started second guessing himself. And then we played him again the first game next year, and that's when we was hitting him. We was hitting him. And we had some illegal hits. You know, I had a legal hit. I hit him in the head. They fined me, but it's a big dude. If you see Cam 6'5", 250 running at you, you got to do something.
So you saying Cam ain't never been the same from now?
Nah, not in my opinion.
Y'all heard it here, all right? Brandon
Yeah.
March said he ain't been the same since. Okay, so now you riding high. Y'all go to the Super Bowl. Y'all win this Super Bowl. How does your emotions change from the previous year to this year?
Well, the previous Super Bowl, I think we were just happy to be there. You know, at least I was. We was going out in the city. We was in New York, right? My first time in New York. So the first two days we didn't have curfew. So we outside. You know, we going out, we eating dinner, we with the OGs of the team too. We hitting strip clubs. We got caught on TMZ because we was at some little sushi spot. We supposed to be focused on the game, but we got a whole week. So man, but I love New York, by the way. It's my first time there, so I was just like a kid in the candy store. And so once, we got curfew and then we buckled down and we was locked in, but it just wasn't I don't know what it was. It just felt off.
Just happy, like, oh man, just taking in the whole ambiance of
the
Super Bowl
whole-
weekend, and I'm in the city, and I'm out here. Okay.
But the second time, I think everybody was kind of knew, okay, this is a business trip. We know we here for
We already done that.
We already done
Second
that.
time was in what? Where was
in
it at?
Santa Clara.
Okay,
In
cool.
the Bay Area. Well, ain't nothing to do in the Bay anyway, so. It's
Ain't nothing to do with it, so you just focus and just watch the game.
right.
Okay. Now, I want to segue here a little bit because something else is changing that you didn't touch on.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So your rookie season, you had the rookie contract.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Then you go into you go practice squad or whatever, but now your money is starting to change.
Yeah.
What else is changing around you?
Wow, man. So,
Because all before you had the little rookie contract, I mean, from the time you got into the NFL to now you're in Denver, where they giving you your big, I don't want to call out all stats out. It wasn't like I was looking it up and then it was like 15 million Gary. But anyway, but anyway, so now you're getting these millions of dollars that's guaranteed to you in Denver. What else is changing around you?
yeah. So, that was after the Super Bowl, right? And,
But you had to know this was coming.
yeah. Well,
you knew this check was coming.
I had an idea. I knew it was a possibility. And then it came. And then once the money came, it was, a lot came with it. You know, a lot came with it as far as, you know, I guess I felt more responsibilities, you know, with family and now I can have opportunity to buy more things, right? So I bought a house. I bought my mom a house. I bought a car.
But before this point, you had enough money to do all that anyway, right?
Yeah, but I was looking long term because I looked at my account and I was like, okay, cool, I got enough money to do it, but I don't know when, because of my experience in Jacksonville, I don't know when I'm gonna get cut. I don't know when I'm gonna get hurt. I don't know when anything's gonna happen. So let me hold on, you know, until I know I got some more security.
But when you got that guarantee, you like, oh, I'm here now.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
So now, what's changing now? What, you know, like you feel like now everybody, you got to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, you know, and I ended up messing up initially because I got really good financial advisors, and you know, we do a end of the year review every year, and that year after we won the Super Bowl 2016, right? I got paid 2016, so December 2016, I do the end of the year review, and they say, hey B, yeah man, you spend a lot more than usual. I was like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, you've averaged spending about $1,000 a day. And I'm like, for the whole year? He said, for the whole year. And I was like, oh no, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. But it's so easy though.
Want you partying every day?
Nah, but see, like, and I'm trying to figure out, are they including the car in this? I hope they included the car in that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a discretionary spending,
so
right?
That ain't even talking about. They ain't talking about your personal car. You just
so it's about my discretionary spending. So it wasn't the house. It wasn't.
How do you have enough time to spend $1,000 if you're in the house?
And you know what's crazy? I could look back and I can't even tell you what I spent it on. All I know is I bought a car.
Was you hacked? Did somebody hack your account?
Nah, man. Nah.
So you were just.
Nah, and then so that's the thing, right? It's so easy to.
Let me ask you a question. Did you go out a lot?
Yeah, I went out a lot.
Okay, well,
but in Denver, I was going out. It's not expensive in Denver.
Yeah.
But see, you know, people don't realize. They ask like, yo, how do people go broke? It's easy. You got a lot. You could spend it on. You could do what you want. You could buy what you want. You could travel. You can go here and there. It's easy to go broke. Easy. So it's really about being disciplined. It's really about knowing. Okay, well, I gotta say no. You gotta start saying no to people and to certain things. You gotta really hone in on your future and like, okay, well, I want kids and I'm only, at the time I was 27, 26, I'm only 27. Man, let me, I got a whole, 50 years, right? And I gotta leave some money to my kids. So let me create a plan or have my financial advisors help me with a plan so I could be successful and I won't be hurting at 40,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You got the guaranteed money.
Uh-huh.
Now what's coming up now? You're on top of the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
man.
hey, my money's in.
Yeah.
If you don't mind telling us how much was guaranteed on that contract.
20.
20 million, right?
Yeah.
So you got 20 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
You got the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You looking at Jacksonville saying, yeah, y'all got it wrong.
Yeah.
Look at me now. I'm
Right.
paid. Everything is going great for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now Peyton's on his way out.
Yeah.
Going into that next season, did you know Denver was going to suck?
Yeah. I knew it was a possibility because, our next quarterback was Trevor Siemian. And I love Trevor, man. He's a good dude, but he ain't Peyton. He's not Peyton. We end up going 9-7 though, which, he did his thing. Shout out to Trevor.
Brandon, you really thought you were going to go to the Super Bowl with Brandon Trevor?
Nah, Trevor Siemian.
Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian.
I knew he wasn't going to the Super Bowl, but we started off 4-0. And our defense was hot still. So I'm like, okay, man, we got a shot. And then it just went downhill.
He said it all went downhill.
It all went downhill, bro.
So now you're getting that losing feel that you once got in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but in Jacksonville, you didn't have that stamp of approval that you got in Denver. Now, in Denver, you're getting paid. You got everything going for you. Does it even matter to you that you're losing like that?
Yeah, it matters. But at the same time, I still got comfort by the stamp of approval. Because what it is, right, when you're losing, it's a lot of tension in the building because everybody's job's on the line. Coaches' jobs on the line, players' jobs on the line. Coaches are yelling a lot more. People feel uneasy and unsettled. So when I was in Jacksonville, it was 1-9. And so people was getting cut left and right. Cut.
That's just a question.
Yeah.
Is it harder to practice when you got millions of dollars? Do the hits hurt a little bit more? Does dirt get you a little bit more dirty?
Because you're not as, I get what you're saying. You're asking me because it's almost like that chip is off your shoulder.
Yeah.
You're not as hungry anymore, right?
And somebody's yelling at you.
For me, everything was the same, except I noticed that I eased up on my daily routine, which is why the next year I ended up tweaking the hamstring and missing like 5 games. Right? I realized like, I won a Super Bowl and I got paid. B, you let up a little bit. And I'm gonna be real. I was still practicing hard. I was still doing my thing. Whenever I played good. But I started getting nicks. I started getting hurt because I stopped doing my same routine. So I eased up. And then I realized that, and I kind of got mad at myself. Luckily, I made up for it the next year, 2017. Had over 100 tackles, 3.5 sacks, did my thing. But the year before, absolutely. That's why some guys get paid, and then it's like, well, hey, I won.
I go into this Marvin Hagler, the boxer. He said this famous line.
Okay.
He said, it's very easy to get up and run 5 miles when you're sleeping on the floor. Mm-hmm. But it's like when you're getting out of silk sheets, that's when it's a whole nother level. I got to get out of my silk sheets 5 o'clock in the morning and go run 5 miles. It's way tougher. That's why I take my hats off to somebody like a Floyd Mayweather who can still keep it going after all these years, right? Right. So now that you are in this situation now, some things start to happen socially that's going on around the country. Yeah. Let's fast forward a bit. What made you do a very unpopular thing at the time? Take a knee with Kaepernick. Did y'all know each other in college? Yeah,
we played together. I'm the one that told him to come. He's a noob as well. I told him to come, come to this meeting, come to this interest meeting, and he liked it, and so we pledged.
How was Kaepernick in college? Tell the truth, man.
Cap was,
because I watched his documentary.
He tried hard, so he appeared like initially he appeared corny. Because he tried hard.
Try to be cool too hard?
Well, try to be a leader too hard. That's what it really was. Okay. Both. He tried to be cool and tried to be a leader. So initially, you're looking at him like, this dude kind of corny. And then when he tried to, be a leader, it just didn't feel genuine. It wasn't until, I think his sophomore year, my redshirt freshman year, and he started to be more confident in himself, right? Mm-hmm. And he started to outwork everybody. We saw how hard he worked every day. I'm like, this dude is the real deal. He works hard. That's when we started to buy into Cap. And because initially he would just try to talk and be the rah-rah guy. I'm like, it ain't giving what it's supposed to give. You know what I'm saying? But once he started to really show and prove, I'm like, okay, this is the guy right here. He's winning every sprint. He's talking about it, but he's actually being about it. I'm like, okay. And then he's also getting a 4.0. You know what I'm saying? He's doing everything right. And so, after that, man, it was. Okay. Then he was good.
Nice. So what makes you do this unpopular thing and take this knee that everybody looked at you and kind of demonized you for?
Yeah, so I remember I was on a plane coming back from Arizona. We played the Cardinals in the preseason, and I'm on the plane and I see Cap and I see his interview, and I'm like,
In the locker room?
yeah, in the locker room, you know, that one. And I'm like, yo, everything he's talking about is real. And so it almost like planted a seed in me, because I don't follow everything I see. I'm not the guy, right? But when I saw that, and I was like, okay, everything he's talking about was real. And then it's coming from Cap. I'm like, oh, okay, well. So it planted a seed, and I kind of like just said, all right, whatever. On the ensuing, maybe like next 10 days before our first game against the Panthers, I would think about it, it would hit me. And then I was like, yo, man, I might want to take a knee. And I didn't tell my mom, I didn't really tell anybody. I remember I called Jacob, right before maybe the game.
You called Jake?
I called Jacob.
What did Jake say?
You know, Jake was all for.
So it's Jake's fault.
whatever.
So, okay.
You know.
Okay.
It was Jake, man. Jake kind of like was like, he didn't persuade me either way, but he was like, look, man, whatever you believe in, if it's really driving home for you, if it's really hitting you hard, I think you got to follow that gut instinct. So I did, and it was probably one of the most nervous
things. You told nobody on the team?
Nah, I didn't tell nobody.
I like Jake. Jake a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go out there, you take the knee. What backlash do you receive?
Yeah, man. So I get back to my phone right after the game, and I got about, probably like over 100, maybe over almost 200 notifications on Instagram, Twitter, people going crazy. My phone blowing up. You know, I got somebody on Instagram that was just basically just cussing me out. He made a video. Made a video and just started just trash talking me. And, you know, so I had 2 endorsements, right? After the first time I knelt, or I knelt, whatever you want to say it.
He went to UNLV, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? He's an educated guy, you know? Okay.
So, yeah, I lost both my endorsements.
What endorsement did you lose?
It was Air Academy Credit Union. It was in Colorado. Okay. And I had CenturyLink. Yeah, I did a commercial and everything. And they pulled the commercial, they did everything. But, you know, they still had to pay me, which was cool. But at the same time, I wish they would have had a conversation with me about it all before. You know, they terminated my contract, but everybody just jumped quick and said, you know what, we're done with you. And so, you know, then I thought I had almost like a white knight, right? Russell Simmons came in and he called me. He was like, yo, you know, I see what happened to you. I think it's like it's a marriage.
How do you know Russell Simmons?
Russell Simmons, man, I don't know him. He just calls me. He saw that I lost an endorsement from a credit union.
How did he know? Oh, that's cool. The rush card.
Rush card, exactly.
Okay, I like that. So, I ain't know.
Hold up.
How did he get in contact with his agent? You know,
probably his PR dude hit my agent, then they hit me, and we had probably 2 meetings with him. And he's like, look, B, I want to back you. The rush card backs you, but I got to find the money for you, right? And he just kept saying find the money, and I was like, that was kind of weird. Like, I'm pretty sure you got some money for endorsement. You know what I'm saying? I'm not committing nothing crazy anyway.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, we back you. So one day I go on Instagram and I see it blew up. It's on the Shade Room, Ball Alert, everything. Russell Simmons backs Brandon Marshall after losing endorsement. You know, the rush card backs Brandon Marshall. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I feel good initially. I'm like, oh, that's dope. And then, you know, we're calling Russell and he's not answering. He's not answering. His people not answering. I call my agent. I'm like, yo, a week goes by. I'm like, yo, have you talked to Russell? Nah, I ain't talked to him. 2 weeks goes by. 3 weeks goes by. A month goes by. And I'm like, wow. He just seized the moment to uplift his name at my expense. And that's when I lost all respect for Russell Simmons.
I'm gonna air this now.
Go ahead, air it. I don't care. Go ahead. Right. But that's crazy because as a black man, right? How can you do that to another black man? Knowing what we're trying to stand for at this moment.
And what he means to the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
Coming, you know, pretty much creating the genre of hip hop himself from New York to come in and seize the moment and don't even compensate you for it. To say, hey, maybe he thought hey, if I put this out, I could generate enough interest to go find this money he was talking about, right?
But see, my thing is,
But he should have communicated that.
communicate. I'm gonna be real. I wasn't even tripping on the money. To be honest with you, the relationship would have been cool with me. You know, like, yo, B, maybe we could bring you here for this appearance or whatever. I don't care. I wasn't tripping on the money. I'm gonna be so honest with you, right? And obviously that's great, but if he would have, him just not communicating, him just ghosting me, I thought that was one of the wackest things I've ever experienced.
You never heard or saw him again?
Never. You know, it's crazy. I saw him one night in Atlanta, and it's weird. I wasn't sure if it was him.
You didn't tackle him, did you?
Nah, I wasn't sure if it was him, but I looked at him, right? And he looked at me, and then he had security, so he hopped in the car. He hopped in this little Escalade. I'm like, yo, like, that was Russell. I was like, wow, that's crazy though, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, cause you're like, hey, we have this momentum. Are we going to do something next with it, or whatever? And doing, and that's one thing I've always kind of felt with, you know, as black men, if we're going to do business, do business the right way. Right. A lot of times, some people say, hey, why we don't do business with each other? Why we can't do business, whatever, right? It's that, hey, do business the right way.
The right way.
You know, if you're going to go do something, make sure you're licensed in it. Make sure you're accredited in it.
Yeah.
Make sure you're going to do what you're going to say. And if you can't do what you're going to say you're going to do, reach out to the person and tell them, hey, I cannot do this because of X, Y, Z. But I will try to work something else. If it don't work, hey, it don't work. If it do work, it does work.
It's that simple.
But it's a simple concept, but it seems hard to execute because I hear the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Now, let's fast forward to it, right? So you're getting all this backlash. Russell said, I never heard of that story.
Yeah.
Did you ever tell anybody that story?
Yeah, I told, I want to say I told Complex. Because when the George Floyd situation came out.
I don't think they aired that.
Of course. I don't know if he got, you know what I'm saying?
That's a hip hop outlet.
So they probably like, let's tuck it.
Exactly. Right.
Nah, it's air it.
Let's keep that piece up. You know, because that's a hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, they're close to hip hop, and you know that could mess up a lot of relationships that they may have, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so now this happens. You know, how you feeling about everything else going forward? Your teammates say anything? Anybody treat you funny?
Well, no, I got teammates that's supporting me. You know, they support me. And I got some guys that's like, yo, B, I want to kneel with you, but, you know, I don't have the standing with the team that you have, which makes sense, right? And I'm not saying, and first of all, not one time did I ask anybody to kneel with me.
I read that you said that some people was on practice squad, or they wasn't in their position yet. That they were like, well, I don't want to ruffle. They're trying to get that stamp that you already got. You got your guarantee.
I'm guaranteed.
You got your Super Bowl. You got paid.
Right.
So I can't go out there and get pushed out the way.
Exactly.
And I saw Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, he did it. But that was years later, and we just stayed in the locker room. And you know, I love DT, but I think he kind of regretted it a little bit. Probably because he felt like they didn't. That might have been the reason that he was on his way out. But you know, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I can't speak to that. But really, I hadn't already did my demonstration, and it was 2 years later, a year later, whatever happened, and then or 2 years later actually, 2018, and then you know, he came to me. He's like, yo, B, because I'm not sure what else happened. Maybe it was the Trump situation. I think that's what it was, the Trump situation. He was like, yo, B, I want to demonstrate with you. But I was already done, and I was like, well, if you want to, I'm not gonna let you do it by yourself because I know what it's like to be by myself doing it. I'll do it with you. And I think he kind of regretted it a little bit.
And what give you that sense of him regretting it? Did he ever tell you that?
Yeah, I mean, just you know, some stuff he said, this conversation we had. You know, he was like, yo, that's, you know, basically saying this is the reason we're not in the league, and you know, yada yada, and I was like, it very well could be, maybe not, you know, but I stand on my decisions, you know, to be honest with you. I stand on them.
Now it's going full circle, right? Now, what ended your time in Denver?
Yeah, ultimately, you know, so they drafted Josie Jewell, right? And so then I realized they put him behind me, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I see what they're trying to do. But the problem was, obviously money, right? I was gonna make a lot more the next year. The problem was, you know, my knee started hurting out of nowhere. And I'm like, yo, I can't even compete for my spot. And so that was like something that kind of hit me hard because, look, I never shied away from competition in my life. But the fact that my knee is hurting and I can't really perform like I want to. And it's funny because automatically, right before the first game, the night before the first game, my linebacker coach pulled me and Josie to the side. He said, "Yo, B, at some point during the game tomorrow, I'm gonna take out Josie. I'm gonna take you out and put Josie in." And I was like, "What? Why? Like, my 5 years here, this has never happened to me." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. You know, all right, I see what y'all trying to do. All right, so okay, cool. I'm just gonna compete for my spot." And then my knee started hurting, and it just didn't allow me. It didn't allow me to go out there and really compete and really show that, okay, B is still the guy. So, you know, it was an extremely unfortunate situation for me, but, you know, that's life.
Okay. So this is what led you up to getting cut.
Yeah.
Right? So now you move on, you come down, you get cut from Denver, but then you immediately sign with the now Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
Right? So how did that experience go? Because
Yeah.
it was kind of like Jacksonville all over again type vibe. Did you catch that vibe?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And it was like Jacksonville, but I already had that stamp of approval. So it wasn't like Jacksonville at the same time, but it kind of was.
Because you still had the guaranteed money.
I still had the guarantee. They still loved me. I was the starter, And then so my knee was hurting going into Oakland. And so I had to tell the training staff, like, yo, my knee hurts. I did my physical. They checked me out, but my knee was hurting. And I didn't get right up until right before training camp. And that was too late because I couldn't train. My legs wasn't that strong. I couldn't do all the things I was normally doing. And my knee had been hurting since a whole year, right? Since September before. And it's finally good this September, the next September. So, you know, that whole thing, and I learned a lot of lessons from Oakland because there's times I let my ego get in the way. And I let my ego get in the way of my success. And because I had already been...
Now, give me an example of your ego getting in the way of your success.
So, for example, right, I was a starter for the preseason, and then maybe preseason game, it was a third preseason game. We went up to Winnipeg in Canada. We played the Packers. Most of the starters didn't play, but I played, right? And I was kind of like, I was angry at that. And instead of like focusing on my play in the game, I was in my head, I'm like, well, why am I even in here? Okay?
I'm beyond this. I'm above this.
Exactly. Fourth preseason game comes. That's when none of the starters play, the backups play, maybe people fighting for a spot. They asked me, they said, B, we want you to play this game. We want to make sure your knee is good. And my ego was so high at the time, and I'm not even an egotistical person, but I told him, I was like, no, I'm not playing this game.
What built up that ego?
Probably my success in Denver. And so what I didn't realize.
So what I think it was?
Go ahead, what?
Was that 20 million?
Think so?
You said 20 million? 20 million in that Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. He was like, man, y'all better put some respect on my name.
Yeah.
I don't play with
Yeah. No, that could have been it, for sure, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I said my success in Denver, that's the whole umbrella of that, right? And so, you know, I got there and I told him, I'm like, no, I'm not playing this game. I told him, I was like, I want to rest up for the regular season. I said, I want to rest my knee for the regular season. That wasn't a great idea. So they ended up cutting me. And I knew that was the reason they cut me because I guess when I came back, John Gruden said something about that. You know?
Speaking of John Gruden, how you feel about John Gruden and all his
debacle
that's been going on?
It's warranted. It's warranted. You know, I mean, I think it's crazy that the emails came out on one side and it's not coming out on the other side, which is wild because obviously Gruden's the fall guy. Because if you felt comfortable enough to say these things about, you know, these players and Michael Sam and the women officials and apparently the person on the other side is responding and egging it on too, right? So obviously they use Gruden as a fall guy, but in 2021, you can't say them type of things. You can't say anything about, you know, the homosexual community. You can't say anything about, you know, that's fascist. You can't do anything, or you know, they'll kill you.
Okay. Now I gotta ask this question. Now that is there any time in your head that you click and say, football might be over for me?
It didn't.
Or even it had to click in your head yet?
Yeah, at this time, you talking about before I got cut or?
Right at that cut time, when you get cut, you don't, you know, you say the ego gets big, you don't want to play in Green Bay because, you know, they ain't put no respect on your name. They got you out here with all these scrubs and other stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So now you don't play. Now you get cut. Is there any time in your head saying, you know what, man, this might be over for football?
Nah, it didn't. That didn't happen until the second time I got cut, potentially. But even then, I didn't think it was gonna be over. So I get cut, and I go back to Denver, and I'm training. I'm getting my knee right. I feel healthy. I'm good. Then it's crazy because the Cardinals calls me. They called me on Sunday, and they said, "All right, we want to bring you for a workout on Wednesday." So I'm like, okay, cool. Arizona, Vance Joseph, that was my head coach. You know, I'm gonna go out and I'm a, you know, they're basically gonna sign me, I'm pretty sure. So Monday, I go to Lauren Lando's spot in Denver, and I do the same workout I do every Monday. I do everything the same. And I'm doing sprints and I tear a calf muscle. And I'm like, yo, like, I've never hurt a calf muscle in my life. And I'm like, I've been doing these same sprints for weeks on Mondays. And then today's the day, right? And so I thought I popped my Achilles though, how I felt, but it wasn't. It's called the plantaris muscle. It's right in between two muscles, and so I had to call the Cardinals. I'm like, yo, I can't make the workout. And that was kind of heartbreaking because Vance calls me like, yo, what happened? I'm like, yeah, I kind of tweaked my hand, my calf. I'll call you when I'm ready in a couple of weeks. You know, that didn't work out, of course. And then, so the Raiders called me back. And so I'm still nursing the calf injury, right? I'm still nursing the calf injury, but I decided to go anyway. It's like, okay, cool. I feel like I'm decent enough to play, but I knew I wasn't ready. And I go to Oakland. They wanted me to start this week. We play against the Detroit Lions. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But they signed me and they signed this other linebacker. That's when I knew, I'm like, okay, cool. They wanted like a little competition thing to see who's gonna play. The thing is, he played special teams. I didn't. That was my downfall. Not that I didn't want to, but they don't see me as a special teams player. So I'm practicing. I'm like, yo, my calf is hurting. I'm like, yo, it's not the same. It's not right. So, and this is where my ego hit me again. And I think it was more so, you know, I'm not a high-headed individual, but my ego and I think my anger got the best of me. So throughout the week, my linebacker coach tells me that, yo, John Gruden might want to start the other linebacker because he likes how loud he makes the calls. And I'm like, what? Like, why is that a reason to start somebody? You know, who's the best player, right? Yeah. And so also he played special teams, so I got that part. So my linebacker coach, we take team pictures. Then he tells me, he's like, yo, I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I'm gonna keep you posted. So in my head, I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna control what I can control. Sunday comes, I'm eating breakfast, and then we go to the stadium. And, you know, in Denver, whenever you were inactive, if you weren't playing, your shoulder pads and everything was in the bag. So I go to Oakland and I see my stuff, my jerseys was on my shoulder pads. So I'm like, okay, cool, I must be about to play. It's like, cool. Even if I'm not starting, I'm just gonna control what I can control, right? If I'm gonna get in, I'm just gonna play the best I can. So I go outside, I'm warming up, doing my thing. I see my linebacker coach, he says, yo, B, I'm sorry, bro. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. You know, I'm just gonna control what I control. I'm not even really worried about it. So I'm warming up, I'm doing my thing. I look at my phone, I get an alert, it says Raiders inactives. It says Brandon Marshall. And I'm looking at it, and I instantly just stop warming up, and I'm tight. I'm mad.
Why are you mad?
Because it's a respect thing to tell your players if you're not playing, right? Everywhere I've ever been, I'm like, yo, hey, yo, you're not playing this week. Just to let you know, you're down this week. Communicate that with me. Let me know if I'm playing or not. Usually they know the day before.
So he got you out there warming up, doing all this other stuff, and you gonna dress
I'm not even playing, right? And so it was really like the frustration built from everything that I had been with Denver, my knee, right? You know, how they let me go, I didn't get a chance to really compete because my knee was hurt. Then I get cut, and a lot of stuff is going wrong. So I think I just let it build up over time. And so I get back to the locker room, I take a shower, I put my sweatsuit on, I'm still mad, and I want answers, right? So I see John Gruden over there, right? When we go outside to warm up, I see Gruden, and I walk up to him, and I said, and this is all verbatim, I said, yo, why don't y'all fuck with me? And then he said, huh? I said, yeah, why don't y'all fuck with me? And he said, I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with anybody. So he didn't know what I meant, right? He didn't get it.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. Yeah. So I was like, well, how come I'm not playing? You know, is it something I did in practice? Is it something I did in preseason? He said, well, you're here, aren't you? So to me, that didn't mean anything because people come and go all the time. So anyway, he left. And then the next morning, I get a call, it's a Reaper, right? Get cut. But before that, with the special teams coach office, I'm like, yo,
Did the
I'm
Reaper
play.
call you in, or did he tell you on the phone?
No, he just called. He said, yo, come in, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook.
Why take me through all this when we already know what's going to happen? Why not just tell me on the phone? Why get me in my car and drive to go get cut?
Because I guess you got to sign papers. They want to tell you to your face. You got to bring your iPad back. You know, that's what it is. And so after that happens, the GM, he tells me that, well, you know, we don't think you're as healthy as you think you are. You're not moving as well. And I tell him, I'm like, well, it's not my knee, it's my calf. And I tell Gruden that. I had a long conversation with Gruden. I apologized for yesterday. I'm like, y'all want to apologize. You know, I was, you know, it's not like me, but, you know, I had a lot going on. And forgive me for that. And so he's like, no, it's all good. So, you know, and we even communicated even up until recent. And so, but what I heard was that he didn't like that I came up to him and said that, of course. That's another thing of ego, right? And for the first time in my life, I was hot-headed and I let it get to me. I let a situation get to me, and I couldn't control my emotions, because usually I'm able to take a step back from the situation and take a look from it from the outside perspective. This time I couldn't. I was just seeing red and I just couldn't. And so, you know, I truly believe that was the reason why I lost my job the second time with the Raiders. And it was a learning lesson for me. And I didn't know why I had to learn that lesson, because I'm not even that type of guy. But, you know, hey, sometimes we all gotta learn that. It's, you know, it happens.
Okay. Now, are you officially retired from football, or are you still on the free agent block that you'll take a call if it came in?
Yeah, I'm still on the free agent block. So I went into Houston last year. They were gonna sign me. They didn't end up signing me. This year I already had 2 workouts with the 49ers and the Bears. So, you know, my name is still circulating, but I knew if this year passes and nothing happens, then I'm done.
Now, what's next for Brandon Morrison?
Well, you know, I'm into real estate, you know, more so on the investment side. I'm joining this firm as well. They want to be a partner in their fund, trying to raise money, you know, with Embodies Properties, which will be good for my future. We're gonna call it a legacy real estate group.
Okay.
And, you know, I honestly want to get in the media. You know, I love talking. I could talk sports.
Be Shannon Sharp?
Yeah, I feel like I could do it, man. I just got to get a nice coach, you know, learn the tricks of the trade. Right now, I'm already doing the Raiders pregame show for Channel 8. I do a podcast for the Denver Broncos on Monday mornings with Michael Spencer.
Speaking on that, who's your Bronco? Who you like right now? Who you like seeing on that defensive front?
On the defensive front? Shelby. I like Shelby, man. Shelby Harris is my guy. But on the whole defense, I like Justin Simmons.
Yeah, he is cold out there.
Yeah, he cold.
In the backfield. We think about that Jonathan Cooper guy.
He look all right, you know. You gotta stay consistent. I want to see him again and again, but he look all right though.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he did have a good game. So now, so you want to get into media, and you want to pretty much, you said you're partnering with the real estate firm. Yeah. That pretty much this real estate firm is going out and buying real estate properties. Is it a particular area or anything?
Well, it depends. You know, we just was looking at properties in Phoenix, you know, Texas. It just depends on where the best deals are. Not necessarily A properties, but like the B, C properties, maybe fix them up a little bit.
Now, during your time, did you make any investments?
Yeah. So, you know, during my time, I made some investments, but the bulk of my investments happened after. And so we talking about, you know, finances, you know, I had calls with my guys and they say, yo, a lot of times what people try to do is they make all this money while they're playing. Now they're not playing, the money's not coming in. So they try to invest to make up the difference. I was like, okay, cool, because on an investment you may get paid quarterly, annually, monthly, depending. So they try to invest to try to get that. Now that could be disastrous if you just throwing your money everywhere trying to get these checks. But my best investments have come after I played. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was your worst investment? What's that when you put money at, let's say you say, man, I wish I could take this.
And my lawyer tells me this all the time. So my financial advisors, we went to the Bay Area and we met with these venture capitalists, and we had a meeting, and it was this company called Jill's Crackers, right? They was in Whole Foods, and so my financial guy was like, "Yo, man, this is a nice investment for you." Hey, yo, I listen.
What do you know about crackers? Do you eat crackers? Are you a cracker guy?
Nah.
You know about crackers? Okay.
Nah.
All right.
But see, at the time, I didn't really know much about investing, so I was like, okay, I trust him. He's been in the game a long time.
Okay.
So cool. I'm gonna put my money in this Jill's Crackers. Terrible idea. I put more than 6 figures in the Jill's Crackers business, and so it was in Whole Foods. I had the crackers. It was good. It was healthy crackers, like maybe gluten free, and so what happened was, right? They needed a new oven. The company needed a new oven.
They couldn't bake the crackers. Okay.
The company needed a new oven.
Okay.
To bake the crackers. And so this is what I was told. The company needed a new oven. And so, they took some of the profits and bought an oven.
Okay.
Right? And so they got the oven in transit, taking the oven from wherever they got it from to the factory. The car gets in an accident, or the truck gets in an accident, damages the oven. I'm like, that doesn't even, how is the oven damaged? So apparently because the oven was damaged,
they couldn't bake the crackers.
They couldn't bake the crackers, but then they was asking the investors
to help them get a new oven.
To help give new oven to spend more money. And then my financial advisor was like, well, look, we trying to overthrow the people in charge because they're running the business terrible. My financial advisor was going to head the project. And it was bad, bro.
Okay.
I lost my money in the Jill's Crackers deal.
Jill's Crackers. Well, I shared some of my at least I got a couple of them, but one was, I'm trying to think of one. One was a brewery.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But it comes to me. I have this thing when I see people doing something and they want to, guy was brewing his own stuff. He said, hey, I want to go brew and it's going to become the best thing in the world. And, so it was more like just investing in the people more than like the business itself.
Right,
so I'm like, man, I want to see this guy win, have his own thing. So, the thing about investing at that time was when I made the investment, it wasn't organized like I should have had it.
Yeah.
Right. For prime example, any investment, anywhere I put money, I can get financial reports, I get updates, I know what's going on or whatever. It's like this money goes over here, everything just goes obsolete. Like it was problems from that point on. Like everybody act like they're Superman until they get your money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got that. Yeah. Oh man, everything. Man, all we need is your investment.
Yeah.
And then when the money came, it was just problem at the problem. It wasn't the liquor license. It was the store. Then it wasn't the store. It was some taxes. Then it was somebody else, and it was just this. And it was just I look back on it. I say, you know what? Investing in the restaurants is like one of the worst businesses because they say the return and their survival is so low.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's switch the subject. What has been your best investment that you say, hey, this has actually worked for me?
Yeah, so, I got 2 of them. Well, I'll just give you my best one. So my best one right now is real estate, right? I invested in these 2 apartment complexes.
Did you keep your house in Denver?
I sold it, unfortunately. I made a good profit, but I missed it. I do miss that house. But so it's this apartment complex that's
Did you at least keep the Connect 4 pieces?
Oh yeah, I got the Connect 4. So it's somewhere else over there. It's right there. It's right by you.
Since you say you're unbeatable.
I'm nice at Connect 4. I can go ahead and
all right, okay.
We can see what you talking about there.
All right, okay. So now you sell your house in Denver, make a profit. What made you sell it? Why not rent it?
Well, I was renting it. I was renting it to one of the Broncos players. At a good price. Man, I was making $6,500 a month on that. It was good, but the market was at its peak. So, and then my realtor was telling me I would have to pay property taxes if I rented one more year, or capital gains taxes. Capital gains taxes if I rent it for one more year. I guess it's out of 5 years, if you rented 2 out of the 5, then you got to pay certain taxes. I guess a lot of money. So I decided to
Because kind
sell
of
it.
go into a more of an investment property
exactly.
versus being a primary residence.
Absolutely.
I read a couple books, but go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yep. So
right.
then, and you know, the housing market boomed this year. So I made a nice profit off it. So I decided to sell it. Put a lot of that money into this apartment complex. That's in Monroe, Louisiana.
Okay.
And so we get paid quarterly. It's a syndication, right? So they came in and we acquired it. We fixed it up a little bit, and I get paid quarterly off that, which is
nice right now.
Which is pretty nice. I'm like, cool. So now, okay, cool. Now I'm generating some income, because once you stop playing, right? You see green, it's all good. I'm getting money, but you see red. But now it's all red out your bank account. I'm like, damn, okay.
Everything is going out.
Everything is going out. Nothing's coming in. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got to figure something out. And so, I was just like, okay, well, let me hop into real estate. And it's proved to be fruitful. And I just built a house in Atlanta that I'm about to sell, and that should be nice as well. So, I mean, real estate to me has been my lane. Yeah.
All right, cool. Now, is there anything you want to give out there to young players that's right now taking yourself back to when you were in college, that has that dream of getting to the NFL, or someone who just got paid?
Yeah.
What advice would you tell them?
Oh man, well, I guess I could get some financial advice. And my financial advice would be to, invest in one property per year. And if I would have done that, I think that's a great idea. You invest in a property, you find a good real estate group, or maybe you could do it on your own. You educate yourself, and I believe in apartment buildings, right? Commercial real estate, multifamily unit. The more the doors, the better. You invest in that property, just one a year, and then it'll pay you back for the rest of your life. And so I truly believe in, if I would have done that, it would have been nicer, but I'm doing it now. But just one a year, man. And it's not like you have to put a crazy amount of money into it. And I got people, that I've been introduced to, and it's been proved, to be fruitful for me. But also it's like, you just never know when it's going to end, right? And a lot of people, you don't see the end of the road, right? You're on this journey and you don't see when the buck stops, because sometimes you're on this journey and you see, okay, I could just see what's in front of me. I can see what's in front of me. And in my head, I'm gonna play 10 years. It don't always happen like that, right? So one, you gotta save your money. That's one. And because you can't out invest a bad spending habit, okay?
So $1,000 a day spending ain't good.
Nah, that's terrible. That was terrible. I can't believe I can't even believe because I was known as a cheap guy. Everybody told me, oh yeah, you cheap, man, you real cheap. And then once they told me that, I was like, damn, where did that go, right? So, but also never be satisfied, never be satisfied. That one year that I kind of slacked off a little bit, I guess, in my daily habits, and I got injured, I think that, I wish I would have had that back. I wish I would have had that back. It was a wake-up call for me, though,
Okay. So, well, I'll put you in the hot seat for a second. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You got to pick one answer. Okay. Right? We're going to hit on the 3 sections that you just kind of spoke on. First one, being a linebacker.
Yeah.
Who would you put, if you had to pick one, you was building a team, would you pick LT, Lawrence Taylor, or Ray Lewis?
Because LT gets to the QB. I'm picking Ray, man. I'm picking Ray for his sideline ability and his leadership qualities. Now LT is a game changer, but I'm gonna pick Ray.
Ray Lewis over Lawrence Taylor.
Over Lawrence Taylor, yeah.
Okay, let's go on your activist side.
Okay.
Which one did you relate to more, Martin, Malcolm?
Martin.
Why is that?
Because I'm not a by any means necessary type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I was, then it'd be different.
Okay.
But I will say, if you think about, stories I read, it would be tough to kind of just sit there and not take the nonviolence approach. That would be hard. But knowing my personality, I would gear more towards Martin.
Okay. Next one. Somebody came to you right now and said, here's $2 million after taxes is your money. $2 million, that's it. or you can get $10,000 a month for the rest of your life. Which one would you choose?
I'm taking the 10 bands a month.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I mean,
Over the $2 million?
yeah, I'm taking the 10K. I'm taking the 10 bands because honestly, I feel like I'm gonna have that coming in, right? Now I get 2 million, you know, you might be able to invest and all that, but most people, the average person, if they get $2 million, they're gonna spend that. They're not gonna know where to invest it. They're not gonna save it. They're just gonna spend it. But that 10K, you'll continue to get that coming in. You'll generate that. You can still work, right, or do whatever you want to do. Maybe take on some passion projects, but that 10,000 that's that security blanket. You're gonna have that.
Glad you said that. So the thing I always say that people miss out on is there's a difference between being an asset millionaire and a cash flow millionaire, right? So I always go back to this story of my dad. As far as I know, my dad, he doesn't have millions of dollars, right? But he's a cash flow millionaire.
Okay.
Because he's retired military, he's retired school teacher, he gets his he's 75 years old, he gets his Social Security, blah, blah, whatever, he lives on his own, right? So he has enough money coming in every month to where it can take care of his lifestyle, everything, more than enough, right? So he can live. So, but he doesn't have bukus of money just laying nowhere, but he just have enough cash flow that, so I always tell people the difference between being a cash flow millionaire versus being an asset millionaire. And that's why I was like, you know what, I'd rather be a cash flow millionaire versus to turn around and be an asset, because it may not look as sexy, your bank account don't look as sexy, but you got money that's being replenished every single month. And then just like you said, a lot of athletes, it's like, oh crap, I'm down to my last $4 million. I need money now. And they start doing things and one or two bad investments and
it's over.
You on ESPN 30 for 30.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So now we want to get into your William Morrison Marshall Foundation.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Why did you choose this?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, Jacob Wallace actually.
It was Jake again.
Jacob, man, he came.
Jake, all right.
Jacob came to me, man. Shout out to Jacob. So I've always wanted to work with the youth, and I just didn't know exactly what capacity. When I was in college, I wanted to be a big brother and big sister in that program, but I just didn't have the time. So once I made it professionally, I knew I had more reach. So, you know, one time Jacob came to me, he's like, yo, B, I think we should start a foundation, a mentorship program for the kids. The name it the Williams Marshall Cares program, William Marshall Cares leadership program, and, you know, Williams from my mom's side, Marshall from my dad's side, and we can affect, you know, some change on a grander scale in these kids' lives. And I was like, okay, cool, because I've always wanted to be that bigger brother, that father figure to somebody, or to expose these kids to something that they would never have gotten on their own. And so, you know, we created the program, got our 501c3 and did all that. And this is probably our 5th year. And now we have about 25, 30 kids. When we started off with about 4. And, you know, the kids love it, man. They love it. We, you know, introduce these kids to a lot of people such as yourself, a lot of professionals, a lot of people that with success stories, or people that have the opposite, right? And we show these kids, we expose them. It's really a career exposure program. It's really an exposure program in itself. We expose these kids to so many different things. We just added girls on, but we expose these kids to maybe, you know, we had a meet one time with a barber, right, who now owns barber schools and barber shops, but he started off just cutting hair. And he broke it down. He said, I was making $15 a cut. Cool, 30 minutes, $15, or 15 minutes, right? And then so he worked his way up, and now he owns 2 barber schools, he owns barber shops, and those are the type of stories that these kids need to hear. And I get my kids originally, or my boys at least, because they all want to play football. And I'm never stopping them from wanting to complete their dream, because they see I made it, that they can make it, but they need to know it's more than one way to skin a cat, and it's more than one way to be successful. And football will end one day, right? Sports is going to end. You can't play forever, man. Father Time is undefeated. Is undefeated, right?
Okay. So I think that was in 2017. You know, I told you Rod Smith, shout out to Rod Smith, Broncos. So he talked about your event that was coming up. So, okay, I'm gonna go and check it out. Never met Brandon Marshall to see what's going on out there. Didn't know anybody that was there, right? So I walk in there. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What was your first impression? Be honest.
I don't remember my first impression. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I wasn't really sure, you know, who you were or what's going on, but you seem like a good dude with good energy. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing was, I was shocked when I had met you, right? I was like, oh, he's not, you know, he's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
From, I don't know, your image, it didn't seem like you would be, right?
Okay.
So when I went there and I was like, oh, he's a pretty good, you know, and me and Jake, we connected even more, just talking on the side, things like that or whatever, right? And we had jokes, we had running jokes and played around and stuff like that, you know, throughout the years or whatever. So when I did the book, then, you know, the whole stock thing, then he saw what I was doing and just said, hey, Prince, you know, it'd be a good idea if you did this with the William Marshall Leadership Program, right? I said, okay, cool. And you know, the rest is history, why we're here today. So how do you feel about teaching kids about financial literacy? And we're gonna get more into what you're doing with your program in financial literacy, but how do you feel about kids and financial literacy?
I think it's important. I think it's important because, you know, if you have $20, right, if you give a kid $20 and that's their only $20 for, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, you know, if they earn that $20, I make them cut the grass or whatever, they got to learn how to make that stretch, or what's important, you know, how should I spend this $20? And I think that's big, because I think you got started early, because a lot of people, you know, and most people, they never even get to have a retirement, right? Most people grow up and they don't have retirement. And, you know, I think a lot of people is just, you know, living paycheck to paycheck, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if we start these kids early with saving, you know, save 20% of your paycheck, right? Save 20, if you get $20, save 20% of that, right? And then just keep doing that over and over again, and have that mindset. And I think, you know, they'll have built enough wealth to maybe start investing because that's how you really build wealth, when you start investing. And, you know, you can't necessarily earn your way into wealth, but you can invest your way into wealth.
Okay. So today, we're going to do something never been done before, right? I started this about right after I had shortly met you. You know, me and Terrell Davis met in Denver, and, you know, he loved the first 2 books. He said, hey, let's get together. I want to be in on this 3rd book. We made it happen. We launched at the Broncos Boys and Girls Club. And then I said, you know, I sat down with Rich and I said, hey, funders they want to come in, but I feel like I can talk to them blue in the face about finances. What is tangible about what am I doing, right? What can have a lasting impact or the opportunity? So we came up and said, well, how about we award kids stocks? I said, you know what, I like that. You know, I just want to give them a book. I want them to learn about investing, credit, insurance, and most importantly, what if we can turn them into first-time shareholders? So the first stock we awarded was Nike. Then we awarded Coca-Cola, and then now we're awarding Apple, and I think the other one is Kraft Heinz Cheese, who makes Capri Sun, things that kids can relate to. So here today, we are going to award Maddox Craven. She's a 12-year-old in your program, right? And we're going to award her with Apple stock. 1 share of Apple, I think right now its value is about $150. So when she takes this share, it already has a gain to it already. It's probably already up 5, 6, 7, 8, 10%, right? Because it's just been sitting in the foundation's account waiting to be transferred. Due to, we have her here live today, so we're going to speak with her mom and her about your program, William Marshall's Leadership Program, awarding stocks to kids, you know, and she's going to get Wesley Learns to Invest, Wesley learns about credit and insurance. I signed them all for her, and we're going to give her a stock certificate. So we're going to talk to her mom to see how she feel about what you're doing, how Maddox is, and things like that. So here we go.
So we have Maddox and Teresa Craig in here, and on behalf of the Williams Marshall Cares Leadership Program
and the Global Children Financial Literacy Foundation,
we want to present Maddox with a very special gift. It's Apple stock.
And also we're going to present her with the Wesley Learns book series. Wesley learns about insurance, featuring NFL Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. Wesley Learns to Invest, and Wesley Learns to Credit. All of these books are hers as well, to pass on financial literacy, and also a share of Apple as well. You got anything you want to say, Mom?
Thank you so much for offering my daughter the stock. I as a single mom, do teach her about spending money, saving money, and investing. So I thank you for helping me help her for her future.
All right.
Absolutely.